As you probably know, Simple Edit has been in Fortnite for quite some time now, and there's still been a little bit of mixed opinions about it. I think that we still haven't seen it reach its full potential, but regardless, Simple Edit has been in the game. Now, Epic Games is moving on to Simple Build, or what they refer to it as Smart Build. We're going to be talking about that today and getting a gauge on how the Fortnite community feels about this. I'm going to give my thoughts, and as always, guys, I'd love to know what you think about it down below afterwards. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another video. If you are new here, my name is Kyle. I'm your guy with too many YouTube channels. Guys, I wish I could show you the clip, but the problem is, well, I'll show you this, okay? It's a tweet from Shinna, the upcoming smart building feature. The problem with this is I don't know if it's okay to show things that Epic Games is seemingly working on. I've done this with like the first person clips in the past before they actually came out. I wish we had confirmation from Epic Games whether or not this is okay to show. So I'm erring on the side of safety. I'm not showing you the actual video, but it's honestly just a character pre-placing the what do you call it, like you have the ramp and then you have the wall behind it and then you have a ramp there, so it's like 3 pieces while you're building, and the character is just automatically doing that, so you don't actually have to learn how to do it in building. I'm deeply sorry if you really wanted to see the clip. I just want to err on the side of safety. I spend a lot of time on this channel and I do not need to end up like Loot Station. But how do I feel about this? How do I feel about simple building coming to the game? I feel like it's different than simple editing, but the problem is I might just be hypocritical because you could say the same arguments against simple edit than you can for simple build. The problem is I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, okay, editing at the absolute top level as a controller player is just something that is completely not feasible for me. It will never happen. There is a ceiling cap on there. That's my own hiccup, and that's why I honestly like simple edit. But then again, I also like that Epic Games had a restriction for simple edit because the people who took the time to really develop their editing skills, there's a lot more that they can do compared to me with simple edit. I can no longer have those like double windows, you know what I'm talking about, things like that. There's some positives and negatives to it overall, and I know this is going to sound hypocritical because I use it. I don't think that simple edit and I don't think that smart builds should be a thing, yet I understand why Epic Games is doing that. You have a lot of people who are just flat out absolutely refusing to learn the mechanics of building, but it's one of those things, like Fortnite has become such a competitive game and it's gotten to a place where it's at such a high ceiling, and for me, that's the fun in it. I get it. I'm using simple edit and I find myself being able to compete with these players. Is that fair to those really good players? I don't think so. They spent years upon years learning and perfecting this craft, and now you have me who can just come in and edit very, very quickly like they can, especially when I'm like, I find it most useful if I'm rushing and I'm like placing some cover over the top of my head and I'm rushing upwards. That's where I find it to be the most useful, and I can edit just as fast as somebody on the PC. It's not fair to them. And more of the same for building. But the problem is, I actually don't think that this is as big of a deal because the building is a little bit easier to get used to. And I know for a fact, I will not be using this because I have just been building over time. And I know I can build faster than anything that simple build could actually come, unless it's really that simple. And all you have to do is like mash B as you're walking upstairs. I don't know what it's going to be like, exactly what controls it's going to, or how fast it's actually going to come out. I just know that I have spent so long building the way that I've been building. I'm going to continue building that way, and I would say I'm an above average builder. Editing is where I suffer. I've never been good at it, and there is a ceiling cap for me. Again, that's not fair to the top players, though. That's not fair to them at all. You have a lot of people saying that it's a slap in the face to people who play competitive and things like that. I don't think that's really... I get where they're coming from, but I don't look at it as like Epic Games disrespecting them. I look at it as a sense like Epic Games is trying to get more people into the building game, which is a little bit strange to me because we have zero build, and with the metaverse now you have all of these different modes. Maybe it's just they're giving players another option. Maybe that's what Fortnite's going for, but I don't know. But it's not just about what I think, guys. I wanted to take a look at what you guys had to say in the Explore page, replies to Shinna, replies to Lulo, and replies to myself over on X. I posted this over on X. If anybody has thoughts on this, I'll include some in an upcoming video. Thank you. And we had a lot of people commenting, which I appreciate, guys. If you'd like to participate, we have these types of videos all the time. You can find the link tree or the actual link over to X in the description down below, or just follow me at Clen YouTube. I would love to have you give your thoughts on there. But guys, thank you so much. Like and subscribe if you have not already. Let's get into what everybody thinks about this. Jonesy Makes had this to say: so I spent years of my life practicing and learning how to build just for them to add this, which means I spent years of my life doing something that's now as easy to do as turning on a setting. I hate Epic so much. The problem is, I understand where everybody's coming from. I do. And it's not fair to them. It's not. I see people talk about how much they hate Epic, and I think that Epic Games is a fantastic company, but the problem is, I get why people are really dogging on Epic Games for this one. It's just, not saying that Jonesy's doing this, I'm saying just, I'm shocked we haven't seen a doxing yet for something like this. But you could view that craft that you've been building for over the years a waste now. Is it a waste? Kinda, not really. I understand where everybody's coming from. That's the problem with all of this. Manure had this to say, when will you ever need to use the third one? And this was, I don't know if this is an Epic original concept, but you've seen this actually floating around for a long time now, and this is the big problem. If Epic Games implements this as the smart build, then it's going to be an issue. Then I will take an issue with that, because that is really just handing people like skill. Everybody's getting a participation trophy. You know, we've talked about that a long time, not a long time ago. We've been talking about that for a very long time now. People can't handle losing anymore, and this is what Epic Games is going to need to do. I don't understand why those people just won't play zero build, but those people absolutely exist in build. To actually build like a 1x1, I don't think that's proper. I think that's going to change the game so drastically, and while I would still play it, it would not be fair to everybody who has stuck with this game and continued playing in this game. I know you're going to comment down below and just call me a sweat. At the end of the day, I look at myself as an average player. I have above average building skills, but overall, I think I'm just a pretty average player. I can find some success in competitive modes, but at the same time, I have no chance against the top level guys. I just understand where everybody's coming from in this one, okay, guys? There was a response to that. Graf said to cross rivers for the third one. That's actually kind of funny, to be honest with you, but let's continue on to the Hylia. Well, I'll give it a chance. I think the smart editing ended up good for beginners and didn't really compromise the game for everyone else. I think this one is weird though. Is it really that hard to build? I mean, slam a wall down, build some stairs, a floor, a cone, that's literally it. There are permutations like a ramp rush or double layer floors, but even that can be figured out with a bit of practice. The actual skill is in editing, and that's what I was talking about with the smart editing. There actually is a ceiling for some people like myself with the controller. I will never be able to do what a keyboard and mouse player does. Is that fair to them to still give me the handicap? I still would argue no. But that's one of the reasons why I'm using it. This is a problem that I'm having talking about this, because kind of makes me a hypocrite and criticizing this. I just think it is a brand new level. But at the end of the day, Hylia is exactly right in the sense, like, all it takes is a little bit of practice, and you'll have the entire Fortnite community, the online complainers, you know what I'm talking about. They'll sit down and go, well, I don't have 24/7. I actually have a life. I can't sit down and create it for 8+ hours a day. People don't do that. I remember learning the ramp rush. It probably took me maybe like a half hour, and then it stuck with me forever. The foundation of it was there, and I have only gotten better, and that happens for the vast majority of building skills. Editing skills is where you have to spend a ton of time in creative, but for just the basic builds that Epic Games is catering to, now that I'm talking about it, it could be, you could also use that as an argument for why this should be added to the game, because it's something that you can learn. But at the end of the day, like, it's just, you're taking the building of Fortnite and really stripping it down even more than you did with the simple edit. But then again, and this is where I have the problem talking about the other side, perhaps that's what Epic's vision was in the first place. They wanted people to build some forts. We all know that the game right now in the build mode isn't the way that Epic intended it to be. It's one of those where I understand where everybody's coming from. Let's continue on. There was a response to that. You think smart editing was good for beginners? It keeps them from improving in any way. How is that good? That's actually a very good point, to be honest with you, but it kind of gets you, it kind of gives you the feel of editing and what it's supposed to do, and it makes it less overwhelming. They're giving up before they even try and calling everyone sweats. That's the problem. So based. This gets them there, familiar with the system, and maybe exploring the full thing sounds fun to them. I don't imagine you'll explore the full thing if you get really good with simple editing. Why would you try something that's more difficult? I would argue that most people wouldn't do that, but this is so true that everybody just quickly gives up before they even try and calls everyone sweats. That is a major problem with not only Fortnite, not only with building, but gaming in general, and it drives me up the wall. Nobody actually tries anymore. Everybody wants to win handed to them, and that's why we have things like this added. Everybody wants a participation trophy. The meaning of a battle royale has been completely lost, but I don't want to make it this one of those videos, okay? Let's continue on to another reply. What's next? Smart aim? I legit have no idea why stuff like this is added when zero builds exist. This completely defeats the purpose of even learning how to build. That's where I was kind of standing at. What's the point? Zero build does exist. For the people who don't want to learn building or have a frustrating time in the build mode, zero build does exist. And not only that, the entirety of the metaverse does exist. If anybody disagrees with me and like it could fill me in on some mindset in the comment section down below, I would legitimately appreciate that. But it honestly is a good point though. Where does it stop? I would have said that I would have stopped at simple edit. I wouldn't imagine they would have simple builds coming out. That's just me though. I don't know. Like it wouldn't be shocked. And I know you can just say, you know what, that's aim assist, but aim assist doesn't really help it doesn't help as much as you guys think it does for the people who don't use aim assist. But is that going to happen next? What is it? Simple running? Are you just your character gonna run to the loot automatically for you? I know it sounds ridiculous, but something like this would have sounded ridiculous before even simple edit was a thing. But guys, before we get into more posts, of course, we have some very, very thought-provoking things to take a look at. I want to stop you guys for just a second. As you know, I started a family. I'm working very, very, very hard on YouTube in order to provide a life for my wife and our future children. We actually decided on when exactly we're going to be having the next one, which is very exciting. So I'm grinding the best that I can on YouTube. So I have been promoting my supporter creator code. If you guys have been watching the channel, you would know this. If there is not a code that you're using in the item shop, please consider using code Clen. That's what I'm doing it all for, and I really appreciate everybody who has helped so far. Every little bit piece of the code used helps me so much. Thank you very much for listening. Let's continue on to Slime Wizard. I genuinely don't like this. Part of the game's fun is learning how to use and experiment with mechanics in creative ways, and while still streamlining a game for accessibility is usually good, circumventing the learning curve for an entire mechanic is detrimental to the experience. This I completely agree with, but the problem is we live in a time now where not everybody shares that mindset. People don't want to sit down and you know what they're going to tell you? Like, instead of experimenting with the creativity and the freedom that you have with building, it's going to be, I don't have time to do that. I actually have a life. You know, I touch grass every once in a while, and you should probably try that too. That's what you're going to be met with. I completely agree with this, but the problem is a good chunk of the player base does not share that mindset that we do anymore, Slime Wizard. And unfortunately, it sucks, and I wonder if it's ever going to be fixed, but makes me sad a little bit. Let's continue on to what Meowtis had to say. Simple edits is needed since editing is the hardest thing to do in Fortnite. Building is already easy enough. But again, that could be an argument for what's the big deal that simple build is coming. But it's true. But then there's also a slippery slope like we were talking about. I don't remember who posted it. I apologize. But what's going to come next? Smart aim. It's a slippery slope. Is everything going to be smart? Are we just going to reach a point where AI plays for us? But honestly, like at least with simple edit, I kind of got it. It kind of made sense. It's a very, very, very difficult thing, and you're still limited if you use it. That's the part that I really like. If you were limited with the simple build in some way, I'd be here for that as well. If there was a way that for the people who grind and work to perfect their craft, they should have an advantage over you in some way. These simple settings should not bring you up to par with somebody who has been grinding over and over and over again. Let's take a look at Season X. Is there anyone left with values and work ethic anymore? The Fortnite community is like cars. Eventually, no one is going to know how to play because Epic keeps coddling everyone. When I started, it was get good or go home. Games were so great when it was about competition. I wouldn't even say when it was about competition, but when it was about actually like improving and getting better, and gamers, instead of wanting to be coddled or needing to be coddled, they actively tried to get better. Let's point you back to BO2 again, MW2. That prestige guy that you saw, you did everything in your power to kill him instead of telling him to touch grass. The truest thing that has ever been posted online was what Fade Sway had to say. Let's continue on to Lil Smurf. This is coming from someone who plays zero build every time he hops on. This feature sucks. If you want to get good at something, you have to do it on your own, not have some random feature do all of the work for you. Based as usual from Little Smurf. This guy has typically the correct takes on things, but it's true. Like, you have to do it on your own. You have to get good at something. Why? And what fulfillment do you get for just having all of these mechanics handed to you? Do you really get that same OG victory royale that you got back in the day? No, because you had to work for it. We've had this conversation many times on the channel. Pojo also piped up and had this to say, "Grr, why should I try to get better? I love Epic for this. I love being washed and being catered to." Exactly, right? I just, it's the mentality that I personally don't understand. Rem also had this to say, "It's not a bad feature. Personally, I wouldn't use it. Just put the work, bro. But features like this will never be a match for skill." But it could be. It could be. And simple edit, I don't know to what extent it's going to reach yet, but it seems like, at least I like that there's limitations on it. Maybe that's what Rem was talking about. we need to wait and see what it's like for build mode. Let's continue on to what Urgent had to say. Zero build player, good games, no builds. But on a serious note, I don't know how to feel about this. Heck yeah, I'm going to use it for any build LTMs, floor is lava, but I don't really think it's fair to the people who practice. Participation trophies, so true. So true. We live in a world of participation trophies, and this is just the byproduct of that. I blame parents. I don't blame your parents watching this. I blame the generation of my parents. Not my parents, because my parents were great and my parents raised me to be proper, but everyone else in, I guess, like, part of my generation, or at least every parent that raised a kid that turned out to be about 25, 27, 30 years old right now, I blame all of them, because this is what happened when the participation trophies started going mainstream, and we still have them. And look at the world today. Look at the type of people that we got. People can't even handle losing in a video game anymore. They need the win handed to them. And before you get butthurt in the comments, I'm probably not talking about you if you are a normal functioning human being and actually do like somebody who is a normal functioning human being that also likes this. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who are incapable of having fun unless they have a win handed to them. Just wanted to get that out of the way before you come at me in the comment section, okay? Let's continue on to what Acer had to say. I'm honestly getting worried now. I feel like there just won't be anyone bad at the game, and it won't be just as much fun. I feel like Simple Edit already ruined the experience of grinding to get good at editing and to feel that true pleasure. And there is pleasure in working on your craft. And I know you're going to comment down below and say it's just a game, it's just Fortnite. Yeah, you're right. But there still was hype in getting the win. Sorry if you could hear my dog stretching. She's laying down next to me. I don't know if that came through the microphone. But there was, and I always point you back to the OG days, man. There's a reason why you felt so good getting those wins. There's a reason why gaming doesn't feel the same anymore. It's things like this. It's things like bots. It's easy mechanics. It's being handed free wins. It's participation trophies. Gaming doesn't feel the same anymore, and that is very, very evident. So if you are having problems enjoying Fortnite, then check out this video on screen right now where I talk about exactly how you can enjoy Fortnite again. I would love to have you guys over there. Thank you very much for watching. Take care.